It's Car Talk with Matty J. Another Tuesday night, more car-related topics. I'm just joining the studio with James from Members Movies. What's going on?
How you going?
Not bad, man. Didn't miss your show today, but how was it?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
What movie you talking about this week? It was the
Meyerowitz Stories, which is like a family drama, sort of comedy drama with Adam Sandler and Ben Stiller. But it wasn't like a silly, when you say Adam Sandler and Ben Stiller, people think of Zoolander and Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. But this is directed by Noah Baumbach, who's like a sort of indie drama director. So it's more like a sort of family drama, kind of like Woody Allen-esque movie. Yeah, it was pretty good. It's on Netflix, so like you don't have to go out into the movies or anything. You can just watch it at home. So
it's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, I'd recommend it.
Cool.
If you like drama, if you want to see Adam Sandler not be an idiot and like he actually gives a good dramatic performance. If you want to see Ben Stiller's best dramatic performance, I'd say watch Meyerowitz Stories.
That's a big call.
Yeah.
Well, I knew that Adam Sandler, he is a good actor.
Yeah. He's a good dramatic actor.
But he's a good actor because he's like so broad. He does so many stupid things. He plays different characters.
Yeah.
The Zohan. Come on.
Oh man, now we're just going to talk about the Zohan for the whole show.
We could talk about it would just be called Car Talk with the Zohan.
I think how many times have we said we'll do a episode of my show where we're talking about Zohan? We keep forgetting.
We're gonna do it.
Oh,
One of these weeks. But. Anyway, we'll move on because we don't want to be talking about the Zohan and
well,
stuff.
I don't mind. Yeah. I don't know anything about cars. What car does Zohan drive? No, he drives a motorbike.
No, he drove a Lincoln Town Car limo when he's driving around.
I can't believe you remember that.
Hell yeah! I remember all cars and all movies.
The Hummusmobile.
He's brushing his teeth at Hummus.
What's the glasses?
I know. What the hell?
That always gets me. I don't.
People hate that movie, but it's so good. It's so funny.
Delicious Kentucky.
You never know who you
the show's cancelled. We'll just talk about it.
You are going to get spotted.
He's got the knife and the swords.
He's going nuts. He's going ham, cooking it. He's like, and giving all the meat to the people. If you listen at home, so we don't even be laughing at this.
Watch Zohan and then listen to this episode afterwards.
Oh man, I'm actually tearing up. Man. But I shouldn't be tearing up because I should be in a weird way because this Friday marks the end of Australian automotive.
Oh yeah, on a more serious note.
On a more serious note, that's not Hummus or Zohan related. Yeah, this Friday, I think about midday, ends Australian production for motor vehicles.
All motor vehicles.
Yeah.
After Holden gone, that's it, right?
That's it. Toyota went last week or the week before. And now it's Holden's turn to finally bow out with the last Commodore rolling off the line, which is going to be a very, very sad day. I mean, it doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on, blue or red,
Yeah, I mean, it's not about that. It's about the Australian production of anything, really.
Yeah, pretty much. And I was reading some stats today during my break at work, and I think some 30% of their workforce that are losing their jobs are going to retire.
Yeah,
and so many other people are just out of work. So it's a big loss for so many people. So many families who rely on these people. But not only that, as I mentioned previously on the show before, it's the little companies that make things for it.
We talked about it. I mean, I feel like I'm repeating myself because I am, but it's like when the Broady plant closed, it's like it's not just the factory that's going away, it's all the supporting businesses.
Networks, yeah.
All the milk bars that are down the road from the plant are going to suffer. Well, all the housing, it's all going to change.
Well, across the road from Ford, there's a street it's just you can walk across. It was called Ford Gate for a reason because it was at the gate of Ford.
Yeah.
People used to go for lunch. They used to have the cheapest kebabs, it was $5 a kebab and a drink, and it was huge. But now I guess they're gonna have to jack their prices and that because obviously the workers aren't going to be going there for lunch anymore. So, but
do you know what's going to happen to the actual plant? Are they just going to knock it down?
Well,
Or?
they're probably going to sell it off.
Yeah.
Because I know Ford was selling off their plant. But I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going on with that at the moment.
Because it's really sad when you see like pictures of Detroit and there's just empty factories and, you know, broken, dilapidated houses and like, I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but I mean, that's kind of how it started.
It does, yeah. I mean, it's kind of, you know, looking very. I mean, when I drive past Ford now on the Hume Highway, so much of it just looks like a ghost town, and it's on. They've kept like a few.
Looks like
buildings.
Sydney. When we drove to Sydney, every second shop was closed down.
Bought it up.
Which is really sad.
Dude, do you remember when we were driving to Sydney? We were like, oh, we don't know what to expect because we'd never actually been to Sydney properly before. And we were like, oh, you know, everyone raves on about Sydney. It's like, you know, it's world class, this, that, and the other. Housing prices are ridiculous. We get there, I kid you not, every second shop was like boarded up. It was just nothing.
I think I said like this is like Detroit. Like you know, there's all these abandoned gas stations and all the chain link fences surrounding all the empty shops and. I mean, hopefully that doesn't happen here.
It's pretty freaking sad though.
Yeah,
it
is.
I mean, looking back, like Sydney kind of was a massive disappointment in that aspect because it was just like, well, I didn't expect Sydney to be so
it's like expectation versus reality.
Yeah. I mean, you don't really see much of that in Melbourne yet, I guess. I mean,
in certain areas, but yeah.
Also, like the housing pricing in Sydney is crazy. So
yeah.
But anyway, what can you do? But yeah, in regards to all like the little networks and the like places around, it's going to be so many people out of work, so many people really struggling to make ends meet. So we do really need to take some time and stand back and think about these people because they are. I mean, if you had a job for like Holden, Ford, Toyota, Nissan, Mitsubishi, who else was here? Like tons of other companies. Yeah, you had a job for life, and that's kind of not the case anymore. So. They did hold. Holden did hold like a little parade in Adelaide about celebrating all their cars.
Oh, okay.
Well, all their Australian-made Holdens, right from the FX all the way to the final VFs, which was good to see. But also it was pretty sad. Like from what I've read, there was like people who didn't matter what car you like, they went there and they kind of celebrated.
Why in Adelaide?
Because Holdens are made there. They're made in I forget the name of the plant, but it's an Adelaide plant. Elizabeth plant. There you go. Oh. So but they've got other facilities here in Melbourne. I mean HSV's in Melbourne, I believe. So
but you didn't. I think a few episodes ago you were saying that the design team's still staying.
For Ford, they are. Yeah.
Oh, okay, Ford.
Ford, yeah. So Ford in Broadie's factory. I think there's like a few big buildings that are still there, and they're going to be staying there. They're not selling those off because they are designing because Australian engineers and that are really really sought after.
Oh yeah, worldwide acclaim or whatever.
Yeah, so they're using them for to build the cars for Australasia. I mean, if you look at the Ranger, the Ranger especially, that's like kind of a world class vehicle now. It's getting sold everywhere. So it's like 120 countries I think it's sold in. So I mean, and that's Australian designed and engineered, which is a testament. I mean, really, the Falcon and stuff could have sold anyway. If Holden could have done it with the Commodores and that,
I think we've. I mean, I always think we've already talked about it because we always every time a plant closes, we do an episode. But I think it's strange because in America they love big cars, so it's like why not bring the Falcon there?
I mean, there was a whole bunch of reasons why the Falcon didn't go there. I mean, like because they're big cars, the tourists there, and I guess they want to support the American workers. But in terms of the bigger picture, like a Falcon's just, in my opinion, a better car, especially from the last tourist that was here. But I mean, everything's got to come to an end, and it's a shame the way it did. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, they could have built SUVs and stuff because that's what everyone wants these days here. But the labour rates are too high. There wasn't government backing.
Government doesn't care.
Yeah, the government backing wasn't as strong as it should have been.
I think we talked about this. Didn't one of the politicians said to Ford, I believe, like, if you don't like it, get out.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the next day they announced, we're leaving. Yeah. And it's like, well, you can't do that. You can't just say get out of the country and let millions of people, not be able to make ends meet, but politicians don't care. Yeah, no. Couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less. They're getting their big paycheck every year. just to be in Parliament for like a couple of weeks up there. But in terms of planning ahead, I don't think we didn't plan ahead as well, and the government didn't back us in. And I think that was a major factor that really. I mean, if you're looking back now, we're going to say, geez, what do we manufacture? We don't really make anything.
Nothing.
Anymore. So
it's like, I keep saying, like, if you're going to shut down those big plants, you have to bring new industries to provide new jobs, and the government couldn't care less.
Yep.
That desalination plant didn't get made, and
it was already almost done.
Yeah, and it's like, well, now you have all these people who, could have, been employed there. It's the same, like, you shut down all these factories and you got all these people who are trained to do, the engineering stuff or whatever you call it, who now, can't be retrained or are getting too old and have to retire.
Yep.
And now retirement doesn't mean the same thing as it used to. You still have to work on pretty much until you're dead.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't care about bringing new industries or retraining or trying to overcome the problems of automation. And that's why, like, when I heard that Tesla was bringing their, like, super mega factory battery plant here, I was like, see, that's something that's, interesting, because, all the people who worked at Toyota and Ford or whatever could potentially get retrained there.
Yeah.
So, and I think, they're bringing all the supercharger stations.
Yeah, they're popping up everywhere.
So it's like, well, people got to build those and design those. So, I mean, that's cool. When I hear that stuff,
kind of G's you up. There's some hope. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, the future of, those kind of industries. It's changing, but, there's, something to look forward to, hopefully.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. I mean, it's kind of a sad. It's going to be kind of a sad episode today, but we're going to reflect on some of Holden's, like, what I think have been Holden's really, really good cars of their time here.
Especially you're a Ford guy.
I'm a Ford guy, so
it means more coming from you, I think.
It probably would, actually. But I like all cars, as you know. But I'm a Ford guy, so Holden guys, please don't hate me too much about my list that I'm gonna share with you shortly. But look, we're gonna go to our first song of the night. We're gonna go to a song by Client Liaison. They got announced for an aria, believe it or not.
Cool.
I mean, and they're like super kind of like not really known, but like they kind of
they're getting bigger now.
Yeah, because people are like, holy crap, these guys are pretty funny and awesome. So, I think that they got nominated for a song as well. Their song with Tina Arena, which is cool, Foreign Affair. But we're gonna play probably my favorite song of the album, Off-White Limousine, because
good.
Off-White Limousine. So we'll be playing that. We'll be right back after this. Don't you want to ride in my Off-White Limousine, James?
Yep.
That song just convinces me.
Is that even a question? Of course.
That's Client Liaison off their Diplomatic Immunity album, which is nominated for an ARIA. That is Off-White Limousine. Really, really cool. When I saw those guys live, they actually parked the Off-White Limousine outside of the show.
Yeah.
So and then they picked some people out of the crowd to go in the Off-White Limousine. I'm so freaking jealous. Like I'm like, dude, that is crap. I had to get a selfie, obviously, with the car, so I was like, at the front of the thing. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, what are you doing, man?" She's like, "You should be getting a selfie with me." I'm like, "No."
I'm here for the car, not the band.
The Off-White Limousine more important. But they were really good live. If you ever get a chance to see them, good Aussie group. Really kind of doing good things. They, if you listen to their music, it's super chill, but super like late 80s vibe, 90s vibe, which is really, really cool. Their song with Tina Arena, the actual film clip, they're like flying an NSAT plane and stuff. it's so good. Well, we're gonna get to our lists of our favorite Holdens. We actually was supposed to have a bigger group on tonight, but
Reese K couldn't make it because there was a big smash up. So drive safe, everyone.
Yeah, drive safe.
Especially, the weather's changing and people seem to lose their minds as soon as it gets hot or cold or whatever. So, yeah, just keep an eye out. We talk a lot about, Mexican adventures on the show.
But
hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But
yes.
Like be safe on the roads. Drive safe. Yeah, definitely.
So gonna be an idiot, take it to a track or Mexico. In all seriousness, take
Yeah.
care out there. If you're gonna,
So-
if you've got hard driving to do, take it to a track.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm not the Holden expert, but I'll try my best. I've always said I like Holden more than Ford, but for no real reason, just because I like the look of the Commodore
Because
more than the Falcon, and because like Sandman.
Sandman.
Like, Sandman beats all Fords.
Oh yeah, Sandman's pretty damn dope. I'm not gonna lie.
You can't argue with that.
No, for those of you at home who don't know what a Sandman is it's a panel van.
Yeah.
And back in the 70s and the 70s, like every company was doing a panel van. But Holden's one was kind of the most favorite because it was the Sandman.
It had actually had Sandman on the back, right? Or did people add that later?
No,
that was a legit thing. So I had on Microsoft Word how there's like the 70s font and it's kind of like a bubble font. Imagine that, and it's like Sandman on the back panel. It's so cool.
I mean, there's nothing cooler than like...
And like the orange one is like iconic, but like any color looks good.
I mean, there's nothing cooler than like a Sandman panel van with surfboards
sticking out
of the back of it and on the roof. I mean, just for, like you'd be driving in the city and you still have them, and it'd be like,
I don't surf. I'll never surf in my life, but I'll put a surfboard in the back just
because it
looks cool. And they got a Sandman.
What else are you doing in Sandman? So Sandman's they were actually around for a little while. They're really, really popular. They're super popular these days. Like, they're worth good money if you can get your hands on it.
They're becoming more rare now.
I mean, yeah. I mean, what really killed them was rust. That's what really killed most cars from the 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
But the good thing about Sandmans, they came in so many different colors. They came in blues and greens and yellows and oranges, but really, really bright, and it personified the 70s.
Yeah. And they stand out.
They do stand out. So if you don't know what a Sandman is, for our viewers overseas and stuff, look up Sandman Holden. Particularly, I think it was a HQ model. It was really just such a cool.
Yeah, they got a real for what's basically a station wagon. They have a really nice shape.
They do. They're very. What's the car from GTA that they look like?
Damn.
They were kind of Australia's answer to the Chevelle overseas, and the Chevelle was what car was in GTA? I can't remember now.
Oh man, the Tour.
It wasn't the Stallion. It was the other one. We'll remember this. We'll come back to it.
Damn it.
But yeah, it looks like that, just with it's like two doors, but like with a massive panel back with doors that open. Really, really cool. Definitely, was probably one of my favorite Holdens ever. I mean, the other companies tried to copy with the Sundowner and a few other ones. They just weren't as good.
No.
But Sandman for the win. I think we're in agreement. That's probably our favorite Holden of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just because it's so cool.
I mean, it's so cool. You can't beat it.
We'll move on though, because we'll get something to a bit more modern. I think probably one of the best modern day classics that Holden have made was the reborn Monaro. And the Monaro came in a few variations, but towards the end of its life, they brought out the CV8Z, which was on the Series 2 platform of the Monaro, which is for you people in the States and stuff. It was your Pontiac GTO. But the one to get in my eyes is the CV8Z in either the blue or like the burnt orange. I can't remember the name of the color. Fusion. That was the color. It was called Fusion.
Okay.
It's such a striking car, especially if you find one with like the original wheels. They've actually got like CV8Z like indented into the wheels.
Cool.
So they're a really, really cool car. Really, really good car too. I mean, you're getting a V8. You're getting, obviously you got to get one with the manual, but a really, really good sports car. Very, very good muscle car. So out of everything that was kind of around at the time in terms of like a coupe sort of shape, they're a bigger coupe. I mean, they were based on the Commodore, but there's such a really good looking body line.
Yeah, they got those hood scoop thingies.
They do. Yeah.
What do you call those?
Hood scoops.
All right, good. I got it right. I got something right. Yes. I know cars.
You know cars.
I'm smart.
I know Sandmans and hood scoops.
Sandman and hood scoops. That's going to be the name of my album or my book. That should be the name of your autobiography. Sandman
and hood scoops. I do like that, James.
An Australian automotive history.
Sandmans and hood scoops. But yeah,
patent pending.
Patent pending. Yeah.
Copyright 2017.
Matty J CarTorque. But yeah, really, really cool car. It was the last hurrah for the Monaro, which in itself is a really, really cool car.
Yeah, they were really cool. I mean, every time you see a Monaro, you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah, you get that vibe from it. Yeah.
And then when did they stop making them? A while ago.
A while ago, probably. They'll be getting close to 10 years now, I think.
Jeez, you don't see them as much anymore, and
they hold their value really well. So if you want a piece of consumer advice, I mean, we don't really give much consumer advice on this show, but if you want some consumer advice, if you want a car to really look into, definitely a late Monaro CV8Z, because they hold their value really well. Like I saw one with like no miles on it for like 70 grand, and they were like 50 odd brand new. So if you want to get a decent car that seems to hold their value, definitely get on those. I mean, I found out, like, to be honest, with Holden, Holden versus Ford, Holden's later model stuff seems to hold their value a bit better than Ford's later model stuff, but Ford's older stuff, like for example the GTs and stuff, hold their value better. So it's kind of a shift, I guess, in a weird sort of way. But definitely, and you can see why, because they did bring out some really, really good cars, especially with the CV8Z. And any really other Monaros, just don't get the V6 one. It was supercharged, but if you want the proper muscle car, even if you just got like a Monaro CV8 with the V8, you still got like the basics of a great muscle car there. So and you look super cool. And I reckon
they look really cool.
I'd totally rock one of those over a Mustang.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Some of like the yellow SS Monaros is just really nice.
Yeah, like the top ones. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Like for example, I'll bring one up now. Like
just a nice clean one.
And that's a CV8Z too. Like for those of you at home, we're actually watching. We're looking up on the.
Sorry, it's an audio medium, but I needed a refresher on. I know what a Monaro looks like. That one's easy. Give me a hard one, Matt.
Give you a hard one. I'll give you a hard one.
Oh, I don't know what that is. Let's go back to the Sandman.
We want Sandmans and hood scoops. Another car that I've always been a big fan of is the Maloo. Holden's a kind of
Maloo, I know.
Yeah,
because it's crazy.
Yeah, it's just stupid.
It doesn't make any sense.
There's no point for a Ute with like 400 kilowatts. It's just stupid. But Maloo, because Maloo.
Yeah,
because Maloo.
Hashtag Cosmaloo.
Hashtag Cosmaloo. Stupid amounts of power. Any Maloo really kind of like gets me hot and flustered, I should say. Especially like even the early ones are like retro cool, but they are retro cool now. But like the later ones from like VZ onwards, really, really cool, aggressive looking cars, and with the back of them, they kind of really, really flow. I'll show James a picture now. They kind of really flow well with the extra bits they got on with the hard lid and
it's got like I don't know, not wings, but like on a normal Ute, it goes straight down the back windshield and then straight across the tray.
Yeah, these ones got
like a curve on it, so it's like a sports Ute.
It is. It's essentially a sports.
It's like a Monaro, but a Ute version.
Yeah, it pretty much is. It's a two-door sports car is what it is. And for those of you that don't know, the Monaro is basically the Maloo is basically a Commodore Ute.
Yeah.
But like a stupidly powerful Commodore Ute, and the Commodore Utes share their architecture with the actual wagon. They're longer. They're actually a longer car than the sedan. They're longer wheelbase, obviously to fit more.
Yeah.
To fit more stuff in, because they are supposed to be a utility vehicle. I don't see anyone. I don't see anyone putting tools in the back of those.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to drive that up to the work site. Jeez.
Well, one, you'd be too worried, like the dust from the sawmills and all that. Get on it. But yeah, any Maloo really kind of does tickles me fancy, because they're just, as I said previously, just stupendous and really, really cool and awesome. For those of you who know what Maloos can actually do, actually even better, if you want to find out what a Maloo can do, look up Chris Harris. He's one of my automotive idols. He came to Australia and test drove a supercharged GDS Maloo, and he had an absolute ball. And he was like kicking it sideways, and it's one of those videos you got to watch. that for me that video just personifies why Maloo's freaking awesome.
We saw one the other night at the kebab shop.
Oh yeah, we did too.
And it's just one of those, your eye kind of gets drawn to it because it just looks ridiculous. It's huge.
Yeah.
And it's just, really cool.
And I think personally, out of all the cars that they currently make, I'd totally buy a Maloo. I would have bought a Maloo over my Typhoon if it wasn't 2 doors because I needed the practicality.
Yeah.
And a 2-seater as well. Like I don't mind the 2-door part, but
also like if you get a Maloo, you're not going to use the tray. It's just kind of there for the sake of it.
because Maloo. # because Maloo. But I mean, yeah. I've probably seen like 2 or 3 Maloos maybe used as a ute. The rest of them are like actually kind of just show ponies. But it's kind of easy to see why they are freaking awesome. Like, I mean they're so stupid that they've got like a lap timer in them, like for like each like they've actually got laps built into them. Kind of yeah. So you can actually, I mean, who needs to pull lap times in a ute? But Maloos. Actually, the car Big Smoke had one.
Are you sure?
Oh.
I'm trying to look it up. I'm trying to find the station wagon from.
We're trying to go back to our GTA days.
But I don't think there's one that looks like the same.
It wasn't the wagon version. It was the sedan.
Oh, the Sabre.
Sabre, that's it.
Yeah, no, I thought you were talking about the station wagon. Yeah, the Sabre's awesome. Yeah. The Sabre's kind of like the
Chevelle.
It kind of reminds me of the Torino. No, not the Torino. Now I'm going off track. Anyway, Holden.
# Holden. But we'll get back. We'll get back. Holden. # Holden. Another really cool like kind of late model car was the VT Series 2 GTS. So this is when they first brought in the LS1. So the LS1 was like their Holden's. They stopped making the Holden V8, which was a really sad moment for like Holden purists because that's when they went to General Motors and said we need some more powerful engines, and then they got the.
So the engine is made in the States.
Well, it's made in the States and made in Mexico.
Real Mexico, not our Mexico.
But they brought out it was in 2000 a VT2 GTS 300 it was all known as because it had 300 kilowatts. It was kind of Callaway. It was actually powered by Callaway by Callaway, and Callaway, if you know your cars, especially your Corvettes and General Motors stuff, they make stupendously fast cars. So they took a lot of parts off there, and it was kind of dubbed the Callaway Special. It was that widely loved that even Jeremy Clarkson, when they took one overseas to England, you see him like chucking hoops and he loved it, absolutely loved it. Really, really cool. That's kind of what that car, especially, is what put Aussie muscle cars back on the map.
Yeah.
And it really showed how good we were to the rest of the world.
Yeah, because the 90s they kind of dropped off, right?
They did.
Like the 70s was like the muscle cars.
That was our golden era.
And then the 80s and 90s kind of dropped off, and then this was like bringing it back for the hardcore motor enthusiasts.
Yeah, I mean 300 kilowatts.
The rev heads who want massive power.
I mean, you got to remember, 300 kilowatts back in 2000 was ridiculous. Like, my Typhoon's like 4 years new and it still doesn't have.
And they still like 2000 wasn't a great year for design of cars. Let's be honest.
It's not going to be.
But this one stands up.
And this one, it still does look good. The wheels look good. The interior looks good. They did all these little extra touches to it, like HSV. I mean, HSV has kind of been synonymous with just putting HSV GTS, like having their badge like plastered all over the car. This one was very more simple.
Okay.
I mean, if you look at, I don't know if you've ever seen the first GDSR that they made. It was yellow. It was actually piss color yellow. It had GDSR like imprinted on like constantly. Everything. It was just too much. This car was more sedate, but it was more. It was hammer.
Yeah.
It was a hammer.
A bit more understated. I guess that helps with the aging. Age is better if they're not trying to go full. Like flashy.
Oh yeah.
It's more like sleek and modern.
And I reckon it still holds up really well because it's a very round shape. The VTVXs were very, very round compared to their more.
Yeah, it's not a box.
It's not a box. And for those of you who are listening that know what the Monaro is, it's pretty much a long wheelbase Monaro. That is what it is. It's a long wheelbase Monaro. So that to me was what really brought back Aussie muscle cars because we were slumped with it like. I mean, HSV were making, club sports with 185 kilowatts up until really that point. That was just like, okay, we've made mediocre cars now. We're going to go balls out and produce something crazy like this. And that is like, that to me, honestly, is like the bargain of the century. If you can get your hands on one now, I know one of my mates' dads just bought one, and they're like under 30 grand. Get one because they are going to go through the roof very soon. Because Holden's shutting up shop. Get your hands on one now. Because
this is the time.
Because this was like a 90 grand car when it was new. It's hovering around 30 and under, and that's still held up. In depreciation for car terms, that's not too bad at all.
Yeah.
And because they're not making them anymore. If you want a piece of Australian history, and I'd say arguably the car that brought Australian muscle cars back, that is the car.
Yeah.
So. Keep an eye out for a GDS 300 Series 2 5.7. Look, we got to go to our second song of the night. We're going to go to a song by Nero. I haven't played Nero in probably 6-7 months. And I was listening to their music today, and I'm like, what, I'll play them on the show tonight. We're going to play a song by them on their second album, Between Two Worlds. The song is called Tonight. We'll be right back after this. You're back on CarTorque with Matty J. Still in the studio with James from Manvest Movies. What up? Now, we're working our way back through Holden Commodore times. I mean, you got to remember that Holden made more cars than just the Commodore. They made cars like the Gemini, which was a shared venture with Isuzu.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of the Gemini because my dad had one. He had a Kermit Green TX, like the one we got on screen here. Obviously, it wasn't as turboed as that one, but it was. I used to love that car. We used to call it obviously Kermit because Kermit the Frog because it was
bright green.
And then my dad ran into the back of a garbage truck. Wrote it off.
You bloody
garbage truck. Where'd you come from?
You're rubbish.
So big ups to the Gemini because they are very popular. They're actually worth good money these days. And if you can find one that's clean, that doesn't have rust, because again, rust is what killed those cars. Definitely worth it. They're a fun little car, agile car. But talking about agile cars, the Tirana was always Holden's answer to the big muscle cars from Ford and and everyone else. And I know you love Tiranas. I love Tiranas.
I like Tiranas because it's a bit different. Like, it's not just the big boxy Commodore, the SS kind of thing. It's like a bit smaller. Yeah. And a bit more, I don't know, sporty, is that the word?
I'd say they're very small and agile, sporty, kind of they're a cool looking car.
Yeah.
And
but they still got they still look like a muscle car kind of.
They're like a baby muscle car.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
They're like you've got your for example, if you would have had your Monaro next to it, your Monaro is like your pit bull, and then that one's like your Chihuahua. But it's still going to bite your leg off. So that's the type of car that it was. In various models and makes, but in particular the A9X and even the SLR 5000s.
Yeah, that was cool.
Just really, really cool looking Aussie muscle cars. They handled well compared to the other cars.
Is there anything similar overseas? We were saying how the what do you call it? The Monaro was like the Chevelle or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's what's the Tirana like?
Tirana,
it's kind of unique, I think.
It's kind of unique. It's kind of like an AMC Javelin. Or you probably won't know what that is. It was like a small. You know what it actually looks like? It looks like a Ford. I forgot the name of it now. I just had it, and Sun Kane just rebuilt one. Maverick. It's like a Maverick, same size, kind of like mean and aggressive looking, but obviously cooler than a Maverick because anything's cooler. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah, but kind of similar roofline, I guess. Especially in the fastback ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that, James. So really, really cool car. Definitely one that I'd totally rock because I reckon Tiranas are dope.
Yeah, they're pretty nice when you see one in real life.
And people used to modify them like crazy. They are pretty rare these days, just because again, rust is what
they stopped making them a long time ago, right?
They did, and actually, over 10 years ago, they brought, in 2004 they brought the Tirana concept, and
Yeah.
you even remember this car.
I remember because I had I think it was Street Machine magazine.
Yeah.
I had like a whole collection. I don't know where I got them from. I didn't subscribe, so someone was giving them to me.
They were trying to persuade you in the right direction. James.
Matt, you were sending them to my house.
I didn't know you at that stage, but yes.
Car. He's like I'm sleeping. He's just like over my bed. Cars.
You had cameras, didn't you? I swear you did. How do you know what I'm doing?
Anyway, yeah, I saw like because they were bringing out and there was like this whole fanfare about how there's a new Tirana after however many years of it not being Tirana, and it was going to be a brand new, there's like prototype version.
It was made.
It was really nice. I think they made one.
I went and saw it at the Melbourne car show.
Yeah.
They don't even do it anymore. But I saw it up close. I was like, having a look inside.
Yeah.
It was freaking awesome.
And then like right before it was supposed to go into production, they cancelled it.
They cancelled that, and they really kind of put all that money towards the VE, which was coming in 2006.
And now we're seeing like last week we were talking about how hot hatches are so popular and your smaller cars and the Tirana would have been perfect. It's not quite a full-size sedan Commodore thing.
It's like a mid-size. It was it'd be like a Camry size.
Yeah, so it would have been perfect for now.
Yeah.
But of course they didn't go through with it.
I mean, even today, that's a good-looking car.
Yeah. Yeah, what's that, 2004?
Yeah. I mean,
that looks like that rolled off the line this morning.
Yeah.
Like that is a 2017 model car.
They could... Holden, if you're listening, make this car...
Stop making Barinas.
Sorry.
No one wants Barinas.
Stop making Cruisers and Astras we don't want. We want that. I would totally buy one of those.
Like that Tirana would do the job of the Barina, the Astra, all those ones. And it's got the Tirana name, so everyone would lose their minds.
Yep. But again, General Motors have said, well, we've cancelled it. Well, they've ended the Commodore. They were going to end the Commodore name, but they're like, for some reason, they've kept it on with a car that's not even a Commodore.
But it's not a Commodore, so...
So it's really annoying that they've kept the name. But the Tirana, they could have totally done that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just pretty much a smaller, it's a smaller Commodore.
Look, if you don't know what it is, just look up Tirana prototype.
Yeah, TT 36 hatch concept. Really, really cool looking car. I mean, they've still got it around in their like their heritage place, whatever it is.
Okay.
But I reckon that is one of the best, like close to finished. I mean, that looks to me finished. As a concept car. So, I mean, even the interior was a bit crazy and special, but
Oh yeah, I don't think they would have sold it like that.
Not with the white interior and the purple
all
lights.
white. Looks like an iPod, early gen iPod.
But having said that, even if they came out, I'd totally rock one.
Yeah.
Had mood lighting and everything that you
Does it have lights on the pedals?
Yeah, all mood lighting. Everything you see that in cars more today, that car had back then.
Remember the Simpsons when they're in the submarine and they get hit by the torpedo and it's like, we're down to mood lighting, and then like the elevator music comes on. It's like
so good. That's what the Simpsons were good, man.
Oh man, Simpsons are the best. Was the best.
How does he say it? He uses the Bart's earring or something, and he plugs the hole. Yeah. Sparkle, sparkle.
Sparkle.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Oh, it's so good. And it gets out of the thing. It's like, it's my first day, and even the penguins laugh at him.
Quack, quack, quack.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Bring the old Simpsons back.
Yeah.
Is what we should be saying. But yeah, definitely look up that Tirana concept, because that was a car that they could have made, and I reckon they should have made, because it is a good looking car. Anyway, we'll get back to Commodore side of things, because Commodore, I guess, was like their staple car. I mean, we could go into Kingswoods, because Kingswoods were really popular.
About those.
Kingswoods were really, really cool. Everyone knows someone that had a Kingswood.
Yeah.
My dad had 2. My uncle had like 4. All were crap, but they were good, comfortable long distance cars.
Statesmans,
were really good. Caprices, all their long wheelbase stuff was always really, really good. I always thought their long wheelbase stuff was kind of like that step ahead than the fours, like stuff. In modern terms, in the older terms, in like not olden days, but like going back like a few generations, like the LTDs were always like the staple of like long wheelbase cars for Ford.
Yeah.
Kind of got eclipsed in the last few years, and it's they kind of just cheaped out on them. But Holden always kind of stuck to really making their long wheelbase cars that bit different, especially with their Statesmans and the Caprices. I remember when my dad was chauffeuring, he always chose the Caprice over the LTD, because one of the Caprice had a V8, had a 5.7 LS1. It had actually the high output engine, so it had like 295 kiloton. It was a bloody rocket ship, that car.
Yeah.
It used to scare the crap out of me. But two, because it was so much different and it had all this other tech than LTD did. So it was good to see Holden really pushing those cars. But we're going to run out of time, so we're going to keep going through these cars. 1990s were kind of a weird time for Aussie muscle cars.
Mm.
But one car always kind of stood out to me, and it was the VN. I know people are saying, "Oh, VN Commodore, you've made bad decision if you've got a VN Commodore in your driveway." But the VN Commodore Group A, VNSS Group A was a really, really kind of aero, super round, super 90s, late 80s looking package. That was a really, really good car. Apparently, I've never been in one, but I know someone who had one, and he was, he said it was probably one of the best cars he ever had. So they're very agricultural, I guess, like very rough and not exactly a clean car on the edges, but
they look a bit dated, but they're still pretty nice. Especially if you get a clean one.
If you get a clean one, they're worth around 100K now.
Jeez.
So that's how popular they were, and that was like one of the last cars that Holden made for homologation rules.
Okay.
So they actually homologated that car. That was the reason that car was made to go to race at Bathurst and the championship, and it did well.
Mm.
And it did well. So really, really, I think probably one of the most iconic Holdens that they made. That's why we're talking about it now. But in terms of iconic Holdens. Doesn't really get much more bigger, I think, than the VL Turbo.
Oh, yeah. Canary yellow.
Canary yellow BT1. Well, sorry, before
intercooler all the way scraping the road.
The VL spec. Look, you can see it.
You can see it
there. Basically, for those of you, the VL Commodore. It was kind of like a last-ditch effort for the first-gen Commodores. They were known as the small Commodores back then, before they went to VN. So if you look at that compared to the VN was like a much bigger car.
Yeah.
And it was a car that they had to really refine, and it was a very refined car in terms of where it started from. So the engine in that, they had the injected 202 wouldn't meet emission standards.
Okay.
And they didn't have enough. They didn't want to really spend the time to do it. So they went to Nissan and took their RB30 engine and said, "We'll put this in. Can we use this engine for our car?" And Nissan were like, "Yeah, sure." Actually, and then Nissan made a campaign about it, like if it's so you should see the car it's actually made to be put in, and it was for their Skyline. But the VL Turbo especially, why it's so special is because Nissan didn't want to turbo their Skyline, and the Holden's like, "Well, can we use the turbo engine?" Like, "Yeah, sure, just take it. We don't really care about it." And then
This is the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
It's the weirdest story ever.
Skyline
right?
doesn't have a turbo, but a VL does have a turbo.
Same engine, just with the turbo.
What the hell?
What the hell? So Holden went full blow with the turbo. You could get a turbo and everything, but the cream of the crop. I mean, you can get a BT1, but everyone's had a fake BT1. Cream of the crop will be finding a real clean, like what we've got on the screen here at Calais Turbo. They're like pushing 50 grand now.
Jeez.
Because they're all like stolen and stripped and just like hectic out.
Put on blocks
And hectic. And but if you can find a clean Calais Turbo, that'd be one of our consumer picks, because they are they were actually quite a quick car back in the day.
Unfortunately, they've got kind of a bad name because
Well, you wouldn't hear the car coming. What you'd hear first, you'd hear and then you'd hear
But you wouldn't see anyone driving. You'd think it'd be driving itself, because whoever's driving has got the seat all the way back. You might see a hand, maybe, if you're lucky, if they're not driving with their knees.
And the top of a cap, of a snapback cap, just like that.
Some smoke coming out the window.
And the guy,
wonky L plates. You shouldn't be driving that turbo, man.
Oh, it's hectic, I swear. If you look at Hector Khabib.
Oh man, so funny.
He's actually got a really, really clean VL BT1.
It's canary yellow.
Canary yellow too. Yeah. Look at his videos on YouTube. His name's Hector Khabib. His real name's not Hector Khabib, but he puts on the persona. Everybody loves him. Biggest stereotype ever. But yeah, those people drive. Just look at him.
Yeah.
And in all these videos, and you'd be like, yeah, okay, I can see why. I can see why those cars got a bad name. But yeah, Calais Turbo definitely. We're going to get to our last car of the night, which I think is really, really cool. the VK Group A HDT.
This is like a more classy VL.
It was the VL before the VL, so it was the shape before the VL.
Oh, this is before. Okay.
They call this one especially the Blue Meanie because it was, when it was blue. It looks like Papa Smurf, to be honest with you, with the white wheels. But really, really cool car. Really aggressive kind of. It's a box.
Yeah, it's a bit of a box.
It's a box, but it's still drawn with like a ruler. But really, really cool looking car. It's got like very similar to Corvette.
That white one in the top corner is all right. No, all the way on the right.
Yes.
That one's nice.
Yeah, that's a Group 3 one, which we're looking at now. But yeah, those ones are really, really always kind of, I was like, I really like those cars.
Yeah.
We're going to get to a quick break and come back. We'll be right back after this. You're back on Car Talk with Matty J. We'll finish up with the VK. VK's are really, like, in a Group A Blue Meanie spec. Really, really cool car. Super 80s, super retro, super Aussie muscle car spec. Like, there was like one of Peter Brock's, like, signature. Yeah,
when you think of like 80s, like V8 supercars, that's what I think about.
They one of the cars that definitely come to mind. Look, we're running out of time actually, so we'll finish up. There's so many more cars we could have spoken about. But if you had to pick one Holden that you'd buy tomorrow if you had the money, which one would it be?
I mean, I'd say Sandman.
Yeah.
But like a 70s SS Monaro would be really nice.
Yeah, like a GTS Monaro would be pretty damn dope.
Like in that kind of greeny color. What do you call it? Lime green or whatever.
They actually had like a dark green one. It was really, really cool. I'll bring it out for you. One sec.
We couldn't remember in GTA the Sabre is based off the SS Chevelle, the 70s SS Chevelle, which is basically the same as the SS Monaro.
So there's your GTS,
like
HQ
that.
GTS 308, and they came with a 350 Chev as well.
They're pretty nice. I mean, even an SS Chevelle. I know it's not Holden, but they're really cool.
They are cool. I mean, you can still see they got the GDS badge on the front. Really, really cool car. Really, really cool.
Yeah,
car.
They're nice. But I mean, it's probably Sandman.
Sandman.
What I guess Sandman, and then in the back, I'd put a Monaro, and then like drive it out of the station wagon. So it's like two. It's like a two in one.
It's a package deal.
Yeah.
Where's Sydney's the furniture store? Package deal, mate. Package deal kick. You can go. Yeah. For me, it'd be Sandman, or it'd be like a late model Monaro, or the HSV GTS 300.
What about the Maloo? You always say you want a Maloo.
Hands down, Maloo. I have to be Maloo. I have to be a VF Maloo GTS, or even a V. I'll even take a VZ.
See, with the Maloo, you got the tray, so you can have the other car in the tray, like me.
Just
Transformers order.
You don't have to have you don't have to have the Sandman putting the windows down. Oh, so good. Look, we're out of time. We're gonna get going.
But then I want to have room for my surfboard. Damn, I didn't think this through.
Roof racks. Sandman, you can get room for it.
Yes.
Or just out the passenger doors like these. Because who needs mates? Thanks for tuning again. Thanks for coming on the show, James. It was a
lot of fun.
Kind of a.
I learned a lot. Like it's. I mean, I know I don't know what I'm talking about half the time, but I always learn something, so it's cool.
It was a good send off to Holden, although I think. But thank you for listening. Stay tuned. Keep an eye on our Facebook page. It's Car Talk with Matty J. Instagram, MattyJ_Car Talk Podcast. ShoutEngine.com if you've missed any of our previous episodes. And we're also on iTunes, so subscribe, rate, and review. Thanks again for coming on, James.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us in your car or home, wherever we might be. See you next week. Take it easy.
This is professional radio, gentlemen.
And it's front-wheel drive.
Scotty, have you got anyone you want to thank?
Just myself.
And now we do the after hours. Dun, dun, dun.
Gentlemen, what would you go for?
Dacia Sandero.
Okay, and because it's not a supercar.
But it is.
It's not.
Automotive perfection comes in the form of two letters, A and U.
Long live my LTD!